Okay, so we're live. Welcome to the Build Workgroup meeting, February 7th, 2017. I think we'll start by just going through the agenda. So I'm going to open up the issue for that. On the minutes document is in the issue as well, so I'll open that guy. I guess first thing, is there anything that people want to add to the agenda that we have documented there? No? Okay. So usually we start off with a roundtable. So I guess, Joe, you've already started to type in what you've been working on, so why don't you go first?
Okay. So I was away for a couple of weeks, and when I returned, I noticed an issue opened by Shigeki asking to add a library that is using to test crypto engines. He has a pull request open that needs it to be passed from the compilation servers to the test servers that we use in CI. So I added it to the fan jobs, ARM on Windows. And I'm working with Kunal Patak to add the Windows Server 2016 to the CI matrix. And the general maintenance of servers, I've been keeping the Windows servers running and helping where I can. So, Michael?
Hey, so I've been did some work on the SmartOS release and test jobs to help accommodate for the new version of V8, since it will only build on newer versions of SmartOS. Doing some work creating CI jobs for Sigim node report and ABI stable node, following the process we'd put in place to give the work groups access to be able to sort of modify and start the job. So that's good. And then just some general work to help keep AIX clean in terms of cleaning up machines and stuff like that. Johan, you're next.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't been too active. I'm sorry about that. I've been pretty busy with work, but I finally managed to submit a pull request for the refactor. It's not entirely done, but I think it has a lot of quality of life things in there and works in general for most types of hosts. We still need to add the Windows stuff. We still need to do some work on, I think, the AIX, because it's pretty manual today.
Yep.
Otherwise, it would be cool if people start testing it and break it, because there's probably going to be small things here and there. But I recently used it to add a few new test hosts and like a release host for SmartOS, so it seems to be working pretty fine.
Just on the AIX front, we are doing some work. There's a new tool chain or a new set of bundling for the tools, where there is places you can download and install, I think even using Yum for AIX. So we're taking a look at that internally, if we can do some Ansible scripts. And if we can get that working internally, then we'll roll them out here so we can do the same thing in the community, because it would make those a lot less manual, which would be good, as opposed to having to store binaries and stuff ourselves. It would be much closer to the other platforms. But that's probably still a month out or something like that. But just wanted to give you a heads up, we are looking at that. So Johan, did you have other things too? Or I guess we lost Johan.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay. Michael, do you want to go? Michael P, is that right? Michelle, am I saying that right?
Michele, yes, thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been working on Windows Ansible script, making some optimization in terms of handling, rebooting, and waiting. I updated documentation regarding these steps, and now I'm going to carry on with the work that Joao already started on Ramina scripts for generating secrets and moving forward it. And yeah, going to work on that.
What does that mean? Like, sorry, like to create secrets, like our internal build secrets or something else?
No. It's for setting up the RDP tunnel to access machine.
It's
remote desktop. You mean like the
Yeah.
access to the Windows machines? Okay.
Yes, it's the other way around. It's to read secrets and generate RAM in a script.
Yeah, exactly.
So it basically takes the secrets you need to connect through RDP and then generates you a script that will do it for you?
As a config file, it's a script to generate a config file.
Okay.
So that you can simply get the secrets that we have and generate a config file that will list the servers in Remina so that you can connect easily.
Ah, okay. So Remina is a tool for then doing RDP
Yes.
sections. Ah, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Okay. So I guess now is that Johan who's typing his update but isn't connected?
It probably is.
Yeah, let me just see. Yeah, actually, that probably won't help because he's not there. Anyway, okay, I guess we better move on if he'll reconnect if he can. So looking at the agenda, now that I actually want to go back, I want to cut and paste from the issue. So just give me 1 second there. Build. So I may at least name some of those issues as opposed to what's in the notes, the minutes. So there, okay.
Sorry, I didn't see that. I disconnected. When?
Right.
Where roughly?
I think you were giving your update about going to, in the Ansible refactor. I sort of chimed in that as a heads up, we were doing some work on AIX because there's a new tool chain set. And we're hoping with that
basically,
new tool chain set,
I've been talking to myself for 5 minutes.
Yes.
Great. Okay.
So,
so backup. I verified the backup routines. I think there's one thing we need to do there though, and that is moving from just rsynching our. Am I broken again? No. Rsynching our dist files to actually doing it incremental, like we do with other things. We had a bit of a problem with a release where, like the second time we did, the builds weren't reproducible, which led to a SHA-SUM inconsistency. So that's something we should be doing. I updated Jenkins. There was a pretty big security update last Monday. I think 8 or 9 CVs. We still need to do a bit more audit into how much it affected us, but the way we firewall incoming connections for JNLP has saved us multiple times, and it looks like even this one.
okay, good.
I've been working with inconsistencies on test suites, especially for libuv on Alpine, and the problem is essentially that on SmartOS Linux, the kernel emulation layer isn't very similar to a proper Linux, which leads to test failures. So the only solution here is pretty much just running it on a proper Linux environment instead. So we're going to have to roll with Docker because we don't have any cloud providers that gives us a native Alpine. I've been fixing some disk issues with the Jenkins host. It's mainly Git repos, like just growing out of proportion. I think there was one that was like around 120 gigs of Git history for like a Windows job. I'm not sure why it grows so fast sometimes. But yeah, like GCs would probably solve it, but that one probably just wasn't to run at all because it was just growing so quick and it probably timed out during the GC. So I think what we should be doing, what I usually do is just copy one workspace to the other to kind of manage that, but I don't have a great solution for it.
You can just delete it.
Yeah, exactly. It will probably check out again. So what we could be doing, I guess, is a cron job that basically checks the size of a folder, and if it's too big, we just delete it.
But the job might be running.
Yeah. So
when that happens, I've looked into that issue and I've tried to use Git GC and it hangs.
Yeah.
when the workspace is very big. So
yeah, I've tried that as well. Like I've seen it going for 20 minutes, uses all cores, and it uses a lot of memory. So like that's actually one of the reasons our Jenkins goes down, because it out of memories, and then it just starts. The Reaper just thinks that Jenkins should die first. So that's what happens. Yeah, I don't know. Like, do we have an issue tracking this, Joao? Do you know?
I think we do.
Okay.
I think we do. I don't know of a good way to do this automatically without disturbing possible jobs that might be running. If we could somehow tell in a script whether some job is running, then we
could
might
log
be able
file.
to do this.
If you
Sorry?
scheduled a job that ran nightly, it could basically check, it would basically be scheduled on, be the only thing running, and then it could check, okay, is the workspace bigger than X?
This is in master.
Yeah, this is on the Jenkins host. So
On the slaves, that is true, but for master, it's a bigger problem.
Yeah, I think what we could do is like create a log file or something on the master when we run a job or something, and then just check that from a cron job we run that tries to delete stuff, and if it's busy, we just try again. So I don't know. Because I don't think we can run the deletion from Jenkins itself. That would be some kind of violation, I think, in terms of privilege.
Maybe not.
No, actually, you're right. I think Jenkins should own all the folders. So
exactly,
there
like
might
the
be a way there.
workspaces are all named, the job names are all things underneath that same user.
You did find a way to run scripts in master for the PR update thing. Problem is that if you simply add a script, it will run in the slaves, not in the master. But you find a way for the PR updates. So
and the directory that's getting too big is on the master, not the slaves.
yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like most of them are around 2 gigs, and then every now and then, like they go to 10 gig, and then a day later they're at 100 gigs. So, yeah. If we can find a way to run a Jenkins job that just checks the folder sizes and just deletes whatever folder size is above 10 gigs, something. It's basically the workspaces for every type of job.
That might work.
Yeah.
I'll try to take a look at that.
I think you can make master one of the targets for a job, right?
You can, but you can't be sure that other jobs aren't running.
Right, yeah, on the same.
Yeah, they lock onto the slaves, that in this case, Windows slaves.
Yeah. Oh, well, just to finish my list, and I added a release host for SmartOS 15. So for new releases, moving from, I think from Node 7 even now, we merged the 5.5, V8 5.5, right?
I don't know that went back.
I swear I saw a merge.
Yes.
There might be an open issue using SmartOS 15 to build. It's part of the work that Michael did, so I just added a host to that.
Yeah, we'll have to tweak that if that does go back, because I think I set it up. I forget how I set it up, but I set it up so that they work. The ones that are currently running are working anyway.
Yeah. So now we have SmartOS 13, which runs builds for 0.x. And then we have 14 for everything up to 7. And then, or up to 8. And then 8 master. And forward is 15, yeah.
I guess, yeah, 8 is master, so that's what's on 15.
Yeah. Let me check that branch. Okay, well, that's me.
Okay, and while you were gone, Michael P. already went, so Mikhail. So let's move on to the agenda items. So we have 5:15. Just gonna open that guy. So files and directory names for downloads. So this was opened by Rich Trott. Says, let's visit the file naming redirects for the downloads directory in an effort to hopefully set up users for maximum future success. This is quite an old one. I don't know if we've had a bunch of discussion already.
I think it's, we have a few ideas in there on what the naming we want, but it doesn't seem to be, someone that drives it strongly enough. So
right.
I think I'm happy just to either remove it from the agenda until we have some progress, or we just push it.
Yeah, you're probably right that until it gets pushed forward, unless one of us feels strongly enough to start doing that, just removing it from the agenda would make sense.
Yep.
Okay, why don't we do that right as we speak? Hold on, I'm going to. Nope, sorry. Okay, so then the next one is draft text for HTS communications. It's quite old now, so I don't know, Johan, did we actually make that switch yet?
No,
okay.
It's not done. I think I'm the bottleneck there. So basically, we just need to set up the test and do some more public communication about it. So I'm a bit short of time still. I think this month out even, so I can probably do it in March. And I mean, we don't have too many people, screaming for it either. So I guess pushing it another month, unless someone else wants to step up, should be okay.
Yeah, I don't know of anybody complaining or whatever, so
let's do that then.
Yep. Okay, remove. The next one is 453 tap plugin issues on Jenkins.
Oh, that's a long one as well. Yeah, so the progress hasn't been much progress. I have a script that parses tap, generates JUnit. It's in my on my GitHub. It works. We just need to install it on all the slaves, on all the workers. Sorry, for it to be useful, because we need to generate it on the workers.
Right. Now, I guess we also need the Miles was working on a tap to JUnit converter.
No, so the original idea was have Jenkins master do work on the tap generated by the worker, but it's just too complicated to do that from our job. I tried my best, so we gave up that approach. So the new approach is that I wrote like a small Python module that basically does the tap to JUnit parsing. Okay. And then just passes back the JUnit to Jenkins instead.
Okay, I'm just reading the issue. I don't think that's in the issue, documented in the issue.
Yeah, it's just a bit further down. I haven't updated the main first one, I think.
Okay, I'm just looking at the last comment, which was September 26th. Said, "Hey, how's the JUnit converter coming along?" But I guess it sounds like we don't.
I think there's been a lot of talk elsewhere. I'm not exactly sure where, but let me just link. I can link it from there. Because I have a pull request where it's working. I've tried it a couple of times. But what needs to be done is pretty much more testing, because it's very, very brittle. I'm just making assumptions on that we are the only consumers, so it's not very nice. I think there was a guy at IBM that pinged me about it and helped me fix one thing, because I don't know if you guys are into doing it as well.
Gibson or George?
Let me check. Up to JUnit. George, actually. Yeah, it's George.
He's been doing a lot of work on SIGIM and stuff, so I think.
Oh, cool. Okay, well, yeah. So I think in its current state it will work. We'll probably find a couple of bugs. But what the biggest task is really just getting it onto all machines. all workers, so we can make the assumption that it's available. I have, as part of my refactor, I have like a script that installs it on all the hosts, but we don't have all hosts represented there, like the Windows stuff again. And I also think that some of the AIX were being investigated in terms of installing pip.
Yeah, pip's in there now. So pip is, we installed it on at least one of them. And the action that Gibson had was to install it on the other one and open an issue asking you to put it onto the release machine. If we need it on the release machine, right?
I don't think so, but we can do it. Like, it doesn't really matter. I think we don't have to make that distinction, but we're gonna, because we're not gonna run the tests and submit it from there anyway. So.
Yeah, no, that's So he basically, it's manually installed already on one of them. He was going to do the other, and so I think if that's the major blocker, that would be okay.
Yeah, I think that we need to move into like testing it on all machines, because I've just tested it on a few.
Right. Okay.
Could you download the script as part of a job?
Yeah, I have it as like a task in the Ansible playbook for installing a worker. It's basically just pip install. I published it on PyPy, so the Python package index.
On Jenkins, try to find a folder in the command place where it should be installed, and if it's not there, just clone it or download it.
The problem is that not all of our workers are in the same Python capabilities. So CentOS 5 and 6 don't have pip because the Python version is too old. So I had to hack some kind of setup tools in there to get it working. So it's a bit inconsistent. We cannot make the same assumption.
Okay.
But like I don't think we should be having like full Ansible support for all of our machines anyway. So adding it to the current playbooks and in parallel to the refactor should probably be good enough, I think.
Okay, so I just took the notes I took is you've put together a Python script to push this along. Next step is to get it onto all the workers, and it needs to be tested on all the machines. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm adding it to the issue, so we have a link to it. I have. I can add a comment later. We don't have to.
Okay. Yeah.
Me right.
Okay, so sounds good. Rsync endpoint mirror for the releases. So number 55. Right, if I got that one right, but
yeah, we have it. It's still it's kind of part of the HSTS changes in terms of communication. So there's nothing really actionable there until we do the encryption changes. So it's I would tie this in with 484. You can probably remove it because rsync is already up and running.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll remove the tag now.
Okay. Yeah, I said waiting on 404, remove from agenda. So yeah, if you can remove it, that would be good. Document nightlies. So this is one where I opened this guy. So let me open. And the question was, somebody was asking me in terms of the nightlies what we actually do. And even from, I'd seen some past runs and from the current runs, it actually wasn't that clear to me, how we answer, what the answer was. So I thought we should document, what is our plan on nightlies? Like, what do we plan to do at what interval? There seems to be one, I can see there's a nightly for master every night, or not every night, but at some time every day. And then occasionally there seem to be some for older releases, like even some like 6.x. So I don't know, Johan, do you know, is there a, like, do we do nightlies for other versions less frequently, or?
Only when the code changes. There is a GitHub repository with the program that is run on master that starts a job when there are changes.
Okay, so we generate nightlies. I'm just going to type in the answer. Generate nightlies 1. And I guess, is that the case that we change release? It's not that the master one is special, but that the code actually changes every day, so pretty much there is one. Or is it that we've set them up differently?
I think we have a master one because the code changes every day.
Right, okay. So we basically generate nightlies when the code
I can probably point you to the scripts where this is configured there.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry for not doing this before. I'll try.
Yeah,
to.
okay. And we generate them for, like, our current plan would be we do it for 4, 6, and master. 4, 6, 7 and master. 4, 6, because I actually don't see a lot of 7s, and I'd expect 7 does get code changes, but maybe we haven't actually done a backport for a while.
I don't know exactly what is running now, but I can check.
Right. I guess the question is, what do we think we should be running? Because that's the other question, right? Like, there is what we do, but let's validate. Like, do we think a nightly for 4, 6, and 7 and master whenever something changes is what we want to see?
Would make sense to me on the staging branches and master.
Right. I mean, I don't see that it hurts for 4 and 6. Do we think, go and see those out in advance of releases, or? Like, I'm almost wondering if they just still are there because they were before, right?
Sorry?
Well, like in terms of the 4 and 6, I'm just wondering, do nightlies make sense?
You can land things in the staging branches.
Right, I guess, and then you could try them out before there's actually a release, or even a release candidate, right?
I don't think we do that frequently, but you can open a pull request to backport something, and you usually target the staging branches.
Right.
So at least it makes some sense.
4 and 6, they come off the staging ones. 4. Is that where the nightlies? I guess I can look at the scripts. What you're saying, it sounds like they should come off to make sense, they should come off the staging ones.
Yeah, I believe the V4 and V6 branches that are not staging are pushed to only by the LTS team when they do releases.
Right,
so
yes.
Not much point in doing nightlies from there.
Okay. Okay, yeah, if you can, and so that way I will find somewhere to document that in terms of, this is what's going on. I can put together a PR for that. Sounds good. Okay. Next one was reproducible builds. 589.
Yeah. Is this really on the agenda?
I think I added it to the agenda because it didn't seem like it was getting pushed forward at all.
I don't think, I think someone's going to have to step up. It's a lot of work that needs to be done in order for this to happen. I don't see, it came out of the issue that I brought up in terms of getting different tarballs and shawsums for, I think it was like node 6 something. I think Miles and Rod and me were involved in trying to fix it. So yeah, I don't think there's any clear contender in terms of someone stepping up and doing it right now. So yeah. I just know that just doing the investigation will be a lot of work. Yeah, if someone wants to step up, that'd be amazing. I think Rod sums it up pretty well in the issue. Sorry.
So I'm just gonna then. So in terms of the agenda, just okay. This is waiting on somebody to be able to have time.
Yeah.
Waiting on. Have enough. Okay, and then the last one was cache the CI for the downloads. I don't think we need a big discussion on that one at all. I think there was just another question of like, where would we put things? Last time we talked about it, I think my remembering is that we'd agree we could put things onto master. And so if everybody still agrees that that's the case, I think it's just a matter of we just, we'll need to actually do it, or I think Gibson or myself or whatever just need to find time to actually do it when we need it.
But was this just about OpenSSL, or is this like a bigger thing? And how would the transport work? Is it like a HTTP proxy? Are we SCPing? Like, what are your thoughts?
I think we were hoping we could curl things.
Okay.
Curl or wget them, that kind of thing. And it's like it was OpenSSL, but also if we couldn't, if say the new AIX toolchain still is missing some pieces, we'd want to stick those pieces there as well. Just generally, anytime we wanted some static assets, we could, curl over as part of the builds and use as opposed to, I guess, like in the OpenSSL case, it would avoid downloading them every time. In the case of AIX, it gives us a place to automatically pull them from as opposed to having to manually push them there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think that's a bad idea either. We could probably host it on the CI host. I guess the two questions would be, first of all, like who puts them there and when and how, if we can automate that. And the second thing would be, I would also want to see the OpenSSL FIPS thing fixed, as in, similar to how we treat ICU, I think. Like looking at downloads there and put it there, and put that outside of the build there directory.
Sorry, say what does ICU do?
So what we do is like you can pass a path to where we have the downloads as part of the configure, and what it does is that it downloads it to that folder, or if it already finds it, it uses that tarball instead. So basically, a local way of caching. And I mean, as Ben brought up, the version of FIPS doesn't seem to have been changing for a year and a half. So if we could just do that,
we haven't updated it. Yeah, so we could change the build job actually to just do that caching check.
Yeah. You should check the logic for ICU. It's part of the download that like we have this custom downloader for ICU. I started rewriting it like a year ago, but I've never kind of finished it. But there's this thing that downloads it and saves it, and it respects a path, so we can reuse that path.
I think that's in the make file for Node, right? Like the FIP stuff.
Yeah, it forks it off. Yeah, it forks it off. But what I mean is like on the workers, we already have that environment variable for the in the jobs. So if you could just respect the same folder when you do the logic in the build job.
Okay. So just find the okay. Because it's for the FIPS one, it's actually just it's in the CI job itself where it just says okay, we'll get this. But if you just want it to use the same spot, then that's just a matter of some work to do that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was thinking if we choose to expand that at some time, it's good if we're consistent at least.
Yeah. So okay. So I mean, the OpenSSL one maybe should be fixed some other way, is what we're saying, and then it's more.
I think we should do both.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a good point in terms of like why not keep it closer, but it sounds like we shouldn't be downloading at all if it doesn't change. Yeah.
True. Okay, so it sounds like we're all in agreement what to do there. Now, in terms of who can access the master, is that something that people with the test key can do? Or
no, it's infra only, accessing the Jenkins host.
Okay.
And I guess that brings us kind of into the next other issues. I added one silently here.
Okay, sure.
Which would be bus factors. So I think we should introduce some kind of, I feel, I mean, the last few months I haven't had as much time as I've had previously, adding like my hours to the build group. And I feel like, you know, some parts of our work has been lower quality. And I think it's important as a group that we at least know that the key people have time to spend if need be. So it would be good to kind of have a review every now and then, if yearly or whatever, as to how much people can commit to the project, especially, you know, the people that are part of the infra group, seeing how we have access to everything. And I don't want us to be the limiting the making things go forward.
Right. Who are the people who are part of that group? I know it's you, maybe Rod.
Yeah, it's me, Rod, and Joao.
Okay.
And that's it. And I know Rod has been very busy lately as well. And you know, Joao was off a few weeks, so like in that case, we've had when we have downtime and stuff, it's pretty lucky in a way that we had the time to spend. But it could have been, if it was a few weeks ago, it wouldn't have been as nice. We would have had probably longer downtime. So
right,
you know, we should look at growing the group first of all, but second, also try to improve the quality by making sure that we know what people we can have available, and actively help recruit people to the build group. I think it's I mean, it's such an important part of the project, and we host everything, so we need to maintain the quality.
Yeah, if we could get more people contributing, then yeah, that would be good.
Yeah. And I guess it's a bit trickier for the infra and release groups, seeing how trust is such a key thing. And if you look at the last year in terms of how much we've grown the group, it hasn't. I think you, Michael, have probably been the biggest change in terms of activity. But other than that, we don't have a lot of growth. So we should be trying to grow our group. Perhaps, you know, if there are simpler ways to get involved. I know we've been talking about it in the past, but we should perhaps try and revisit that.
Yeah, I guess it's like, I'm just thinking like if there's there's some routine things that we could try and get other people involved in. And I don't know if that helps, like to offload you guys from doing, because it's sort of like, you know, it's like, okay, what if we got new people, what would we ask them to do? And especially like you said, if it requires like the elevated access, how do we get to the point where they can end up doing that?
Maybe I can just share my experience, because I have been through the journey that you're trying to discover now. Since the first time I ever heard about the Node build group, I mean, in person, it was Michael giving a talk at Node Interactive Europe. From then, I was kind of fascinated, and I recognized that I had some time to spend. And since I've been working with Node, I said, well, why don't you give back to Node? And the first thing that I did was, again, creating an issue, asking if there was anything to do, giving advice that I was more focused on the Windows stuff. So then I started optimizing the script. That is a good first step. So I would say that it's important to spread the word. So again, having Michael doing the talks, I mean, was the first contact. From then on, you need to try to onboard people, and obviously that happening inside GitHub. So having keeping an issue with things easier to do as a first contribution, either in the README or in a place where the people can see, because now the issue that I open and I slide away from the first page. So if someone arrives at the issue looking for something to do, there is nothing at the moment, highlighting and yeah, this is good for first contribution, while you have this situation inside the Node.js issue list. So again, highlighting from time to time one issue and saying, yeah, if you want to start, that's a good entry point, would be a good first step. At least that has been for me a good step.
Yeah. No, it's all good feedback. I think also, for us to perhaps, we have a bit of resources. I mean, Rackspace has been very generous. Like we have a lot of room there. So, if we could have a sandbox where people could, if people wants to help out with Ansible, for instance, today it's very hard. Like, there's so many variations. If you start reviewing my refactor, you'll see that like almost every operating system or version of an operating system does things slightly differently, and it's very hard if you want to contribute and work with Ansible to verify your changes. So I guess like having some kind of sandbox where people can test the things if they don't have that environment available would be very nice.
Yeah, I agree on that. Yeah.
So that would be one thing that perhaps makes it easier, and be pretty permissive in terms of giving access to that. It would be simple for us to just reset the machine between runs or something if people wants to play around an hour or something.
Yeah, that would be good as let's say a second step once you've started. I mean, be in contact with the group.
And that's. I mean, all the infra stuff we do, like if you look at the issue list we were just discussing today, most of them are like elevated on above the test key if we talk about access. So it is, I think it's a tricky question. I don't have a great answer to it, but I think we just need to be a bit more aware about and respectful to trying to solve this. I mean, the bus factor is a bit chilling, even though we have like a lot of the work that I've been doing in the refactor is public. If I were to be hit by a bus, it's like I think
right. Okay,
a lot of the glue is not out there. It's
right.
So yeah.
I didn't know what you meant by the bus factor, but yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I guess the only answer is to try and grow the people who can be involved in that.
Yeah, I don't see any other option.
No.
I mean,
yeah, sorry.
I'm just thinking like we're on track to add a couple people for the releases.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, are those? I'm just wondering if those are people who are candidates to give access to more of the infra. Like, are we already giving them the keys so that now that it's not an extra step for them to also be able to have access to the higher levels of the infrastructure stuff, or is that?
I mean, like Rich is a good example. Rich Trott, like I mean, he does so much work for testing, and he's more and more he's probably the first guy to report, when there are problems with our workers or similar issues. So giving him more access if he wants to and has time is like I would sign off in a heartbeat. But I guess that's the second part of this. A lot of the work is actually housekeeping. We probably have at least one work at any time that has a problem. It's latent jobs, it's processes that are stalling, there's some disk issue, there's like when we have NFS issues at the ARM HQ over at Rod's place, the entire ARM cluster suffers. So there's a lot of different issues, and they're all not very fun.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have a great answer, but I feel like we should really have a bit more respect to what's between, especially me and Rod and Joao, in terms of what we do and what's available for others to help out with.
Yeah, it would be good. I don't know if you quantified what the day-to-day work was, then it might be easier to figure out if there's people who could help with bits and pieces of it, right?
Yeah. One thing we could do, I guess, is let's just start a wiki or a document where we, like, every time something happens, let's say as a worker goes down, what were the actions to get it back online?
Right.
So like kind of a log, just a log of what we're doing, and just try to reduce that at some point into documentation. It could be reactive, like what if or like what if else when, those kind of things, or
Yep.
or just like common things we do. But it would at least highlight the day-to-day.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Like I've tried to do that a little bit with the, like if there's an AIX issue I need to clean up, I'll open an issue, so at least we have it captured that it happened, and if it keeps happening, I can know that versus just doing it one at a time. But I think what you're saying is just have one place where you can capture all those kind of things, and then we can see the
more
things
public
that need
documents.
to be. Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah, good idea.
I also do like a lot of small like house cleaning in terms of a lot of workers needs package updates because of security, like sedlib and things like that. So I guess it's good for me to like write down every time we do small things.
Yeah, because then we might be able to get volunteers for some subset of those.
Yeah, and I actually have in my branch, I have a playbook that actually just updates packages on whatever you pass to it, because most often it's just general package updates, and you get the security updates as a result, as a part of it. So.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I guess just general complaining from my side, but there's a few things here we should be aware of and respect. I think I think it was Rich actually, or Miles even, that suggested that like we should really try and meet up and pull things from our heads at some point in like next Node Interactive or something like that. I'll try and make an effort to travel.
Right, have a brain dump. Okay, it's a good way to sort of facilitate it as well.
Yeah. Well, what do the old beards call it? Like a GPG party or something like that? Yeah. Well, I think that's about it from my brain dump.
Okay, I think that's what was on our agenda then. Anything else people want to talk about before we close out for today?
No, not from my side.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, one thing. I'll be quick. Just a note. Let's try and get back onto the 3-week meeting schedule, and we can just keep it even shorter and be more active with removing the agenda tag if nothing's happening. But at least get onto the routine again. I think a few of us added it to the calendar. So
that is the question. The next one would be next week.
No, let's make it in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I just mean by the standard calendar. I think in the end we missed it 1 week, we missed it the next week, and I think it's on my calendar for next week.
Yeah, it's in mine as well.
So do we want to have it next week to get back onto the regular 3-1, or skip and have it 4 weeks from now?
For me, it doesn't matter. I think the most important thing is just getting more of the build group online. If people have it in the calendar, it might be easier just to have another meeting next week just to get everybody online and then keep going from there.
Yeah, it'd be fine with me.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll try and I'll plan to file the minutes from this week, and at the same time open the issue for next week.
Yeah, if you want to be, take the hat of facilitating, I think it's been kind of floating between, first from Rod to me and me to kind of nowhere for a bit, and then Joao and you have been helping out. So if someone wants to take that cap, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it.
Okay, awesome.
If anybody else wants to also do it, I don't want to stop them, but I'm happy to fill in.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so I guess we'll chat to everybody next week then.
Yeah, let's think about the bus factor and see if we come up with something. But I can create an issue about the log, or whatever we're going to call it, where we just document what we're doing.
Yeah, I think doing that, and then I guess it's like the only other thing I can think of is there a way we can make it so that less of the infrastructure is restricted to a very small number of people. either grow that set of people or break it up further so that it's okay to give a larger group of people access to more of the pieces. Is the only other thing I can think of that would help, right?
Yeah.
I think we got into this because I was asking about the being able to put stuff onto
CI.
the CI, but the answer seems to be there's only a couple people who could do that, right?
Yes. I think my preferred way would be growing the group. It's just such a, like access to release machines, for instance, or infra that is like keys to the kingdom. And I think for a project like Node.js, we need really strict control and really strict trust. So yeah, my preferred solution would be growing it slowly and rotating as well if necessary.
Okay. Well, we'll put it on the agenda to discuss it again next week, with this being the heads up to everybody start thinking about it.
Cool.
Okay. Great. Talk to you guys then.
Yep. Have a good one. Thanks, guys.
You
Bye.
too. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.